What's up, everybody? My name is Matthew Scarfo. I took the RRCA Level 1 Cert course with you a couple of weekends ago, and I wanted to formally introduce myself to you. I wanted to talk about a couple of things also that weren't included in the materials, some important things, and finally avail myself to all of you in the event that I can help you grow your coaching business and help you become a better coach. So, about me. I've been in the fitness space for over 22 years. I can't believe it's been over 22 years. I started when I was 19, back in 1999, and since then I've earned several professional certifications along the way over the course of just exploring my own curiosities. Now at 42, I'm fortunate enough, by virtue of the certifications that I have, to implement an integrative approach to all of my fitness and coaching. I'm an ASM certified personal trainer, also through an ASM corrective exercise, performance enhancement, fitness nutrition, weight loss, and a handful of others. I'm also certified by Precision Nutrition as a precision nutrition coach, and alongside most of you, I hope, I passed the RRCA Level 1 test, so I'm now an Roadrunner RRCA Level 1 running coach. So I'm pretty excited about that. Test wasn't easy, you know that. My professional specializations lie in human movement and sports nutrition, and despite the extent of my credentials and professional experience, I'm committed to maintaining a white belt mentality in all of my fitness and in all of my studies. The more I know, I'm sure as you guys probably agree, the more I know that I don't know. So I find it exciting that since I'm a data-driven, science-based, and ardent researcher in all things health and human performance, I feel like I'm always looking at everything from the ground up, and I'm always eager to learn. So I'll start by offering some business advice that I hope will help you start and grow your coaching business. It'll help you define and grow your audience, your online reputation, your presence, and become a reliable and valuable player on your prospective client's personal health management team. After that, I'll talk about a few critical things that I don't think really were sufficiently covered in the Level 1 coaching course. But first, business. Let's get down to business. It's critical, if you haven't already, it's critical that you acquire and maintain some sort of business tax designation as a service provider. I have an LLC for what I do, and this protects me in the unlikely event that a client tries to sue me. Also critical, if not more critical, is having professional liability insurance. Professional liability insurance for professionals like us costs usually less than $200 a year, and it's worth every single penny. God forbid you're put in a situation where you've got to defend yourself in litigation and you don't have liability insurance to protect you, you can lose everything that you've got and more. So please, please, if you don't have these two protections in place already, you've got to get these two boxes checked ASAP. Limit your exposure. This always comes first. Second, audience. Everybody struggles with audience. I don't care if you're brand new to this thing, and I don't care if you've got 22 years of experience in this thing. Finding and speaking to an audience is always a challenge. Okay, it's the greatest problem that most independent professionals face from the outset. It's also the single most discussed topic among my clients and I, and frankly, it's easiest to think about like this. But whatever you do, you got to resist the urge to think of your audience as every single person on the planet that's got internet access, because it's not. And thinking about it in those terms will become overwhelming very fast if it hasn't already. So from this point forward, I want you to consider your audience simply as an audience of one. That's it. Think of one real person, an individual, and speak directly to them. Nobody else. It can be your neighbor, it can be your running partner, it can be your life partner, it can be anybody. Aim your focus on just that single person. What questions do they have? Can you answer them? What information are they seeking? Can you get it for them? What do you know that you know will help them? When you speak directly to them, you're going to inevitably speak to everybody just like them. And when you speak to everybody just like them, you'll find that the value in the information that you've provided just continues to grow and grow and grow as your audience grows. So does the number of the individuals that you can speak directly to. And incidentally, the breadth of the information that you can comfortably offer will grow. Third, I laugh because this is really more about the semantics of the issue than the definition. Add value. Now, what does that even mean? I feel like I hear it all the time anymore. So much so that the true meaning of it has been obscured and diluted. Adding value. From now on, whenever you hear the words add value, I just want you to think help people. That's all that it means. Adding value means being helpful. help other people, period. And you can do this in several ways. I'm doing it right now. You can do it just like this. Make a video that is covering information that's well within your scope of practice. Provide it to the people, put it in front of the people that are going to see it, that are going to find the most value in it, and treat them to the wealth of information that you've got, or at least that you have access to. All right, I'm promised that the more you do that, the more you look at your audience as an audience of one, and the more you look at adding value as helping people, it brings it down to its most simplest parts and makes it so much easier to understand, so much easier to digest and to reason, and so much easier to actually put out there and get in front of the people who would benefit from the information that you can give them, right? So I know a lot of things that'll help a lot of people, so I do videos like this and I get them in front of the people that it would help, hoping that you walk away with some value. Think of the people that you can help. Think of the way that you can help them, and provide that information to them in a way that they understand, and be sincere in your efforts to help as many of them as you can, as often as you can. That's it. It's probably not any different than what you're already doing right now 1,000 times a day and you don't even realize it. Somebody asks you about your shoes, somebody asks you about shin splints or their back hurts or how should I breathe or any number of these things. You've already helped people. You've already defined your audience. You've already created value. Just got to put it together in a way that doesn't seem so overwhelming in the vast expanse that is the internet and social media. Now, let's talk a little about the running part of being a running coach. The most important relevant information that I found missing from the level 1 materials was information regarding proper breathing. Among all of the things that we can do or avoid doing that will impact our ability to perform at an optimal level simply revolves around how we breathe. It is, without question, the most consequential. And how do we do it? It's simple. It's simple. In through the nose, out through the nose. Period. Breathing in through the nose allows our sinuses to condition the air that we're breathing, keep our upper airways healthy and moist, and our lungs healthy and moist. When they're dry, they're so much more susceptible to pathogens and illness and viruses and bacteria and spores. And on that note, breathing through our nose allows us to capitalize on our sinuses' ability to produce nitric oxide. Now, if you don't know anything about nitric oxide, it's an extremely potent, extremely volatile molecule, okay? It is a very potent oxidizer and basically destroys every living cell or every living thing that it comes in contact with, viruses included. So viruses, mold spores, bacteria, it oxidizes, it causes them trauma, it kills them as we breathe them in. This molecule helps us sanitize the air that we breathe and keep our upper airways free from the things that would cause us an infection. Nose breathing also helps us moisturize. I mentioned that. It helps us with the nitric oxide. I mentioned that. It also helps us filter that air through the cilia that are in our sinuses, which have the surface area roughly of a tennis ball. That's a lot of filtering ability. It's critical that we breathe in through our nose. Critical. You'll find that mouth breathers, the only time that you see any wild animal breathing through its mouth is when it's either sick, dying, diseased, under a tremendous amount of stress, or it's completely exhausted. Breathing through our mouth, inhaling through our mouth, activates our sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight. All right, and that determines our state, that determines our headspace and our thought process and the way that we reason and the way that we perform. So breathing in through the nose, there's a tremendous amount of benefit that we get from that. Now, exhaling through our nose, similarly, exhaling through our nose allows our body to recapture the moisture that it used to condition the air that we breathed in, and prevents us from dehydrating as quickly as we would otherwise. We require 30% less water when we exhale through our nose than when we exhale through our mouth. And you could prove this. You could do this in a cute little test. If you were to try to take a glass or a mirror for that matter and breathe, try to fog it with your mouth, it's quite easy. We've done it. We've probably all done it a lot when we were kids. Try doing that same exercise, breathing out through the nose and fogging a mirror or a glass with the air that comes out of our nose. Very little, if any, at all, moisture will land on that surface. And that's because we're allowing our body the ability to recapture that. All right, critical when it comes to dehydration, water requirements, and so on. Additionally, stretching and injury prevention. Doing the right stretches at the right times to minimize injury and maintain soft tissue health and soft tissue extensibility is also critical. Foam rolling, understanding the purpose of a foam roller as an off switch, as a tool to inhibit overactive muscles if they're creating some sort of asymmetry or some sort of faulty movement pattern. Okay, arbitrarily foam rolling is arbitrarily inhibiting, arbitrarily turning off the muscles that we're using that tool on. And doing so will change certain symmetries. It will change certain movement patterns, and not necessarily for the better. So when using a foam roller, first determine if there's a need for a foam roller. You might need one today and not need one tomorrow. Your glutes might be completely functional tomorrow for the activity that you're about to perform, but today, they're tight because you've been sitting in a weird position or for some other reason. So using a foam roller in the way that it was intended, when it was intended, is critical. Okay, critical. I think oftentimes we find that tool we rely on to help a lot of issues that we have end up actually perpetuating a lot of those same issues. Static stretching. Static stretching is intended to return a muscle to its resting length. Okay, we don't want a static stretch before an activity, and we certainly don't want a static stretch during an activity. Returning that muscle to its resting length is deleting all of the inherent tensions that accumulate in and around the joints, the active joints that we're working. Those inherent tensions help keep the joint safe. They help keep that joint locked in. And if we loosen that joint and violate that integrity, and then go ahead and stress it more, stress it greater, stress it longer, we're really predisposing ourselves to injury. And we want to avoid that at all costs, especially as runners. You know how many things we deal with on a regular basis. And lastly, and this one I can't stress enough, trust your own running experience. I assume that if you're watching this, you've got some foundational experience as a runner. We know what it feels like. We know when it feels like when it feels good. We know what it feels like when it feels bad. We're runners. We get runners. So use your own experiences to inform the recommendations that you make to your clients. Don't forget, I would recommend not to forget to tell your clients that these recommendations come from your own experience. This way, it helps them understand that you can relate to the problem and you can relate to the solution in a practical way. And it also implies that they can ask you about other ways they might be able to solve the same problem or address the same issue. And don't be afraid to reference your materials. Being certified in any discipline simply gives you the license to curate the relevant information and provide it to your clients. It doesn't suggest that you remember everything. It never suggests that you remember everything. It suggests that you have access to the information that your client needs and you can get it to them. So relax when you don't have the answer at the tip of your tongue. Have confidence that you have the resources at your disposal to retrieve it for them. I hope that wasn't too much. I hope it wasn't too much. And I really hope that you found value in at least some of those tidbits. I remember when I entered the industry, and I remember how terrified and excited I was to embark on what would be an entire career, a 22-year-long career at this point, in the service of those in the same pursuit of fitness and optimal health and performance that I am. So don't ever forget, even though you might be a new coach, even though running coach might be your only certification, and that's fine. Don't forget, you're the professional. Your clients hired you. You're qualified to talk to these things. Be confident in your abilities. And if you're not, I recommend that you sit down for a minute and make a list of them. Make a list of them. Paradoxically, I can tell you from experience that the shorter the list, the easier it is to be confident in that list. So however long your list might be, pick the top few and just start there. It's hard to specialize in everything. As a matter of fact, if you specialize in everything, you don't specialize in anything. So I encourage you guys, be confident. Rely on your materials, rely on the resources that you have. You don't need to have all the answers. Get insured. Protect yourself with an LLC or an S-Corp. Talk to your accountant. Figure out which is the best way to limit your tax liabilities. Okay? Be smart about it and relax. We're supposed to have fun when we do this. And we do have fun when we do this. So answer questions, provide value, help people. And lastly, just be true to yourself. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. That's when we get too far out on a limb. We're so far cantilevered over some abyss that when things go bad and we try to rely on the things that we know best, that we're in extremely foreign territory. So trust yourself. If I can ever help, if I can ever be of any assistance, if you need a resource, if you need a second set of eyes, if you need somebody to bounce ideas off of, or if you need somebody to talk to you a little bit more about the human machine and human performance and nutrition or anything like that, I'm always happy to help. So reach out. Reach out. All right? Until next time, stay well and good luck.